Baylor in the traveling green. There's Scott Drew, 23rd season as the head coach at Baylor, closing in on 500 victories. 2021, of course, NCAA National Championship. So it's a redo for the Hoosiers and the Bears as the new faces get their first look at one another and tangle here on a Sunday afternoon. Michael will tie with it. To the bucket. Too much. Yessoufou taking the first shot for the Bears. He's a freshman who's got an incredible backstory. We'll talk about it. But the Hoosiers with the basketball and Reed Bailey. Ratai all over him in the corner. Three ball. Misses everything. Rebound Cameron Carr. Three ball on this end. Enright misses.
And you're going to see a lot of threes from both teams. Right now, if you're an Indiana fan, the one thing different from last year is how much space is on the floor. Because of the space, you have driving angles. Right there, you saw Wilkerson drive that lane because there were so many shooters, just missed layup.
We've seen these games, these exhibition games around the country already produce excellent results. Competitive play, fiery play, and a lot of things that coaches can put on tape and have good, productive ways to look and get their teams prepped for the real games next week. Long three ball. Dan Skillings Jr. misses. Rebound Yessoufou. And the putback doesn't go, but the freshman will go to the line.
And you're going to see Yessoufou continue to crash boards. He's ultra athletic as a freshman. You can see just the way he's built and everything that he's about as he's projected NBA lottery pick. And if you're Indiana, that's the question that you're going to have. How do you rebound the basketball all year long? That's a weakness. Now, you have to rebound as five, and everybody needs to come in and rebound together.
First one good by Yessoufou from the country of Benin. That's in West Africa. It's between Togo and Nigeria. Came to the United States, played in California where he honed his craft. Bears on the board first. Little backdoor look to DeVries, and it's deflected and poked away.
One thing, Coach DeVries' teams have always done is done a good job of taking care of the basketball. And I anticipate that to be the same this year with this Indiana team.
How about that? On the board with the lob feed, and Reed Bailey finishes.
It's just great execution out of end line, out of bounds. You go and you screen. A great screen gives the opportunity to go to the front of the rim.
Tied here in Indy early on. Poke away foul. Everyone trying to fight through the screens, and Connor Enright got tangled in the wash.
You see where Baylor's operating offensively. I would like them to be a little bit closer to that three-point line, but a lot of that has to be because of the ball pressure by Indiana's guards. Indiana, their bigs are, that's the question mark about Indiana. They're a little bit smaller. Well, how do you, cope and take care of that? You get more ball pressure on the ball with your guards.
Obi Agbim with the basketball. Gets it back, looks for a screen, poked away. Quick hands there by Tatum Conaway.
And that's what I mean by ball pressure, right? Like, if Baylor hasn't been able to get settled into their offensive sets because of that ball pressure of Indiana.
There's Agbin, transfer from Wyoming. Power move to the basket, and then scoop and score. Oh, the length and the agility by Agbim.
And he is tricky on the ball screens and the drives, and you just saw an example of that there.
Baylor's first bucket. They lead it 4-2. Little handoff, give and go. Enright. And kick there, OB, so they'll get a reset on the shot clock. Yessoufou getting a lot of headlines of his ceiling, Brian, what he can do this year at Baylor.
Well, it is. And when the comps are Anthony Edwards, I would say there's going to be a lot more conversation as well. That's, you know, as far as what NBA people have been saying.
Nice drive by Wilkerson. He draws the contact on the backside. He'll go to the line.
And you see here, just Wilkes understanding how to play. You dribble to the baseline, little fake. Now all of a sudden you've got an angle, you can go up and finish.
Breeze loves the energy and enthusiasm that Wilkerson brings. He said in a long season, you've got to have that. You've got to have a few rah-rah guys that can bring it every single night.
Well, and we've seen him drive the paint the last couple of possessions, but I mean, he's known as a three-point shooter, made 3.4 threes on average last year, and it's something that this Indiana team really, you know, needs.
Yessoufou lost the dribble, but a recovery here by Agben. Free ball in and out for Ratai. Here comes Indiana. DeVries feeds it into the front court. Drive. Little bicycle kick in the lane there by Enright. Baylor trying to push it the other way with Carr. Skillings Jr. taking a peek and then deflected Obi. It stays with Baylor. So 20 on the shot clock, tied at 4 early on. This transfer class at Indiana, 10th best transfer class according to 24/7 Sports. It's a good group. And it's their first test really to put the pieces together and have a look-see about the potential going forward. Ratai spinning. Stays with the dribble, now has to give it up. 6 on the shot clock. Skillings all the way to the hoop, scores. And
I think he's going to be a big part of what Baylor does. That just the improvement really so far. You just see it against Grand Canyon. You saw it here. Just the attacking is going to be a big problem for a lot of the Big 12.
Yeah, senior, played 3 years at Cincinnati with the Bearcats. As a sophomore, he was a big scorer, Brian, almost 13 a game. Had a little knee injury last year with the Bearcats. After the season opener, only played limited games, but he's healthy, he's fresh, he's hungry. Wilkerson cut off. On the block, twisting, turning, spinning, and scoring. Lamar Wilkerson for 2 and the foul, and he'll need the break here, need the timeout to walk that off. Yessoufou back in for the Bears. Indiana had that burst a few moments ago, grabbed the lead, and Baylor has answered with a burst of their own. Reed Bailey, handoff to Wilkerson. Deflected. Oh, J.J. White thought he got all ball. Called for the foul instead.
And Baylor's doing a really good job of forcing Indiana off of the three-point line. Indiana only three-point attempts right now. And I think that's the biggest thing. You know, they had 20 attempts in their last exhibition game before halftime. That's the length of Baylor defensively. And that's what they went out and got in the portal, is length to be able to defend at a higher level. That's been an issue last year for Baylor, that defensive end, and they went out and addressed it. And you're seeing it translate right now early in this game. Is their length has forced Indiana off of the three-point line and more attacks in the paint.
Quick correction, foul wasn't on J.J. White. It was on Dan Skillings Jr., so that's his second. Called for the reach-in, trying to deflect it. So Indiana back within a point. On the curl. Yessoufou. And the big-time flush by Powell. Yessoufou. Oh, the vision to spot Powell. who was just lurking on the baseline.
Well, that's what Yessoufou can do. Just match up problems. How do you guard? And that was a big-on-big screen. Indiana needed to communicate better.
Conaway with a one-hand floater in the paint, no good. By cleaning up the mess, that was Miles. And then going the other way, Indiana working hard, but Baylor working even harder in the paint.
Well, and it's the length of Baylor. You can tell that they're giving Indiana problems. They're forcing them off the line. They're trying to, shoot floaters, but Baylor defensively, their intensity now has picked up dramatically. And that's an extremely tough shot, probably one that you don't want if you're Indiana. Now, credit Indiana going to, getting the offensive glass, but still the length, you've seen it there for Baylor.
On the drive, Isaac Williams will go to the line. When we return, both teams getting lathered up here on a Sunday afternoon in Indy. It's the Bears 16 and the Hoosiers 13.
They added that just system-wise and what they're trying to achieve. When you've got a good shooting team, you have a chance to create a lot of space on the offensive end. And, Indiana was outside the top 300 in three-point attempt rate for 8 consecutive years. Outside of the top 300. So Indiana fans, this is a little bit different than what you saw, but this is where college basketball has gone, is the three-point line, and that's why Coach Reeves has had so much success where he's been at. And again, you look at how he's pieced it together, understanding what he wants to achieve offensively. He's got the pieces. There's obviously still some questions there. Defensively, what are they going to do? Can the mid-major guys transfer to the high major and play at that level? And then rim protection for Indiana. But overall, they've addressed the needs, and now they get a chance to kind of see where they're at in these exhibition games.
Coaches starting to learn and understand how to use the portal. Where are the deficiencies? Where are the weaknesses? Address them. After the steal, underneath, finish, Yessoufou.
And that's an example of Baylor's length against this press. They're using that length, making it difficult for Indiana.
Here's a three by number 3. Wilkerson, though, grazes the front of the rim. And it's Baylor by a touchdown here in the first half in Indy.
And Baylor, in this ball screen action, they've really gotten downhill a lot. And Indiana struggled guarding it. That's why you see the timeout there. Indiana's defense on ball screen and just one-on-one defense has not been good enough, and Baylor's taking advantage of it.
So they get the steal after the free throw, go down, get the bucket, then go to the other way after the missed 3. This is the steal that they connect on underneath. And then cashing in after the missed 3 with a little floater by Cameron Carr in the lane. So all of a sudden, in a blink, you're +9 here. 8 of 8 from the field. Baylor efficient, and it's all starting with their defense.
Well, it started with, but when you look at Baylor offensively, yes, their defense started to get that quick layup there. But offensively, Baylor has been able to attack, getting downhill. Indiana's resistance. I talked about the first 4 minutes of this game. I thought Indiana's ball pressure was fantastic. Baylor was operating way past the three-point line. That has fallen off for Indiana. And now all of a sudden Baylor's been able to attack downhill, and Indiana hasn't stopped that drive.
Pressure in the backcourt. You see the scoring run. It has happened in a flash for the Bears. Bailey gathers off to Wilkerson. He'll try another 3. In and out, halfway down. Tipped around by Bailey to keep it alive. Reset, re-swing. Try it again. Wilkerson inside the arc that time. It doesn't go. Baylor hoping to bump this lead up even further. Stolen. Passing lane. Takeaway by Conaway. Breeze wanted to pump it. Gathered instead. Tucker. Hounded by Yessoufou. And the perfect bounce feed. On the cut, it's Wilkerson. Indiana on the board to end that 8-0 run.
Wilkerson just being able to see the ball going a little bit. I mean, 2 of 6. He's got 9 points, but just kind of getting a little bit of rhythm. You can see he's trying to work through that.
Carr, pull-up pop, short, stays with it, goes back up, gets the bucket, and goes to the line, Cameron Carr.
We've talked about length a lot with Baylor. There's another example of offensive rebound, it's just kind of one of those things that if you're Indiana, you've got to find a way to answer that, and you've got to answer it with 5 guys rebounding the basketball.
Cameron Carr's daddy, Chris, played 6 seasons in the NBA, most of them with Minnesota. And in fact, Dad finished second to Kobe Bryant in the 1997 NBA Slam Dunk Contest. Silver medal, right? You lost to Kobe. No shame there, right?
No shame at all. But you look at what Carr's done. Couldn't really, find a place at Tennessee, transferred to Baylor, and I think as the season grows, you're going to see his game continue to blossom.
Second chance points, Baylor cashing in on those opportunities here early on. Under 10 to go in the first half as Bailey tries to drive on Ratai. Sisley.
Bad spacing here by Indiana offensively. Now the shot clock's down. They're going to have to manufacture some offense.
Sisley had it, lost it off his knee.
It wasn't a good possession at all. That result shouldn't surprise anybody because the possession itself was all there. The spacing wasn't there. Didn't know what they were getting into, and then it usually does result in a turnover.
3 TOs now on Indiana. Agdam. Quick first step, catch and shoot. Carr doesn't go that time. Tracked down by Alexis. Enright trying to take it all the way in, and no bucket and no foul. It's
a travel.
Yeah.
But that being said, if you're Indiana, that's the pace that you want to play at, though. Yes, it's a turnover, it's a travel, but look at the push. And now you're putting pressure at the rim. Now there's space because initially you played fast. And we haven't really seen that. They've played slow a little bit here. And I think, if you're Coach DeVries, you want them to see them play faster.
Chuck it up, and down it goes for Michael Ratai. Oh, 3-ball makes it a 13-point bulge.
The first 3 of the game, both teams were 0 for 5 before that.
The freeze, the answer, you bet. Tucker connects, needed it. Reels it back within 10. Agdam directing traffic back in his mitts. Enright tracing him. We got a whistle, and
so that you're trying to get as many reps and as many practices under your belt that you can. And both teams at least took advantage of that.
This matchup this afternoon, part of that gelling. Good test.
Travel
for both squads. Yeah. Yep, extra steps there. Ty, a little herky-jerky on his move to the hoop.
Now, if you're Indiana offensively, try to find some pace within your half-court offense. Baylor's used their length to make you uncomfortable. Where can you find that pace? And it just starts by cutting, moving, and making the right play. So far, the pace in this possession much better.
On our way. And really fight through the screen to get the basketball. DeVries taking the 3-ball from the right side. No good. J.J. White quickly into the front court for Baylor. Looks around Powell, launches. Hoop wouldn't swallow it. Rebound Alexis. Sam's got it. And drops the shoulder. Charge called on the transfer from Florida.
And again, defensively, set by Baylor, good job there. But offensively, this right here is just a one-on-one play. Indiana offensively, Coach DeVries, what he wants, get that ball moving, play together, play with great pace. The individual plays you don't necessarily need nearly as much based on what the offense and they're trying to run. And that's where Indiana needs to tap into that a little bit. Move the ball, cut hard, play together.
Yessoufou, nope, lost it in the traffic. Back the other way, Indiana, clean look, Connerway, misses. Agbin works around Powell's wall. With it back outside, long range three is no good. Yessoufou in there fighting, and Baylor called for the foul. I think it's going to go against Caden Powell, who was mixing it up.
I think you're exactly right. Powell was there, and if you're Indiana, sit a lot early in this first half, but it's that interior presence. And every team, everyone's addressed what they've needed to address in the portal, but every team's still going to always have a weakness. And you know where that kind of fits, and then how do you try to cover that up? How do you make that not a weakness? That's what every coach now is trying to figure out, what the weakness is, and then how do we compensate for that? Indiana weakness, then rebound is 5, right? Everybody get in there, and you see who's at the free throw line. Wilkerson, he was the one boxing out Powell, and then that's what you need to do. That mentality is what Indiana needs to continue to have.
Both teams in the bonus now with 5 and change to go in the first half. Yeah, you can break it down to general terms. Indiana needed threes. They got some. Baylor needed length. They got some. But it doesn't mean you plugged all the holes, and they will find that out as they move forward into the regular season. Got the deficit down to 9. That's a foul on Wilkerson. A little too aggressive near midcourt. So Yessoufou will go to the line and shoot the 1-and-1. Tounde, again, great story. Came to America, California, to play basketball when he was 15 years old. No family, Brian. Spoke French. Learned English from his teammates and his folks on the West Coast. He said it felt like being a newborn. It was like living life all over again from the beginning. But he has matured, and on the court is where he thrives. He's always wanted to play basketball, even back in Benin, his home country. His mother wanted him to just go to school and ignore basketball. He's found a way to make it both work.
I'd say he's got a long future in basketball. I think that's probably a smart choice.
Yeah. Don't worry, Mama.
That play right there, Bob, is what I mean by pace, though. It comes across the top, quick backdoor, easy basket.
Down to 8. Williams, and he drops the shoulder. So Indiana basketball, this is a thing of beauty, Brian.
Well, and it is. It's the pace. It's the quick dribble handoff. It's coming across the top. Wilkerson realized he's overplayed. Quick back door. You get a quick, easy layup. Indiana, we talked a lot about, the interior on the defensive end, but offensively, Indiana fans, lived in the paint with the guys that they've had the last couple of years. They don't have that, so how do you generate paint touches? You can get guards cutting the rim. Here's another example of that. Offensively, the pace has changed, and they've gotten easy buckets after easy buckets.
Amazing how easy the game becomes when you do all the hard stuff.
And the little things, though. Both those things, they have been little.
And then the answer by Ratai, yeah. Just when Indiana was starting to get their mojo and a feel on the offensive end, Ratai nails a triple, the 3rd today. Back to a 9-point cushion. Lost it. Bailey, quick transition the other way. And the flush by Carr, just like Daddy back in the day. Baylor back up 11. Dangerous pass there through the seam. Penetration, almost a deflection. Enright, kick it, DeVries, passes up the shot. Wilkerson won't, and he shouldn't.
That's beautiful basketball. It's sharing the basketball. Beautiful basketball.
Yessoufou. Little stutter step. Gives it up instead. Around the defender, Ratai. And a foul called going after the loose change. Talked about the new car smell. Well, how about Cameron Carr? New car on the showroom floor for the Baylor Bears, who lead it 37-29.
It's been a good game early on, and the biggest difference is when you look at it overall, it's been Baylor's bench points. They've had 11 of them to Indiana's 0. And you look at the other part of it is just second chance points. Baylor's got 7 to Indiana's 0 there. You're sitting there at an 8-point game, and it's been those have kind of been why we're at the situation we're at with the score.
Wilkerson leading the charge for Indiana with 16. Carr in double digits with 11 for the Bears. Ratai's the one who got tangled up before the break, so a couple shots coming his way. Next on the first. Oregon State transfer, played there for 3 years. Split the free throws. And it'll be Indiana basketball. Yessoufou couldn't corral it. DeVries into Alexis. Back to Tucker, who gets sandwiched. Front court, open man, corner. Not this time for Wilkerson. Was starting to feel it from outside. Yessoufou, leaner, no good. Wilkerson gathers and goes. Get it back to him. Connerway in the paint cutoff. DeVries lobbing it. Score it. Foul. You saw Sam Alexis, Brian, ask for it. Give it to me right here at the apex.
Well, there was a switch there, and he just realized it. Instead, he was going to leave and exit out, but realized that the switch was there, so it stays low, comes back, and then just seals with the hip. And when you, as a big, when you've got that lob pass over the top, you can't let that defender break contact. He doesn't, stays connected, then he's able to go get the ball and go score.
Sam got a ring. Played for the national champion Florida Gators. Came off the bench a year ago. Trying to be a difference maker, an X factor now at Indiana. It cut this one down to 6. Blocked there by Enright, who held his ground. Back out, inside, charge called on Skillings.
And you can feel an energy change here with Indiana. And it started offensively what they were able to do, get some pace. Now, all of a sudden, defensively, they're swarming all over yet again. This looks like the beginning of the game, the way Indiana defended.
You saw Dan there. He tried to careen and lean out of the way. Body English, though, carried him into Wilkerson, who hit the deck. Opportunity here to slice it down even more. By 3, no. Enright had a look. Green jerseys converge to gather the missed shot.
Indiana 2 of 10 from 3, but a lot of those looks have been good looks.
Ty with it, wants to get rid of it. In the hands of Carr. Step back. Oh, man. Rainbow three ball for Cameron Carr.
And just a tough shot. That's the second one on this afternoon by Carr. That defense, he just can't do much with. Just an excellent individual play.
DeVries, look at the bounce feed. And Sam Alexis there as the recipient. Tucker is so good. It just that fundamental pace of head on a swivel, always understanding where everybody else is. Yessoufou called for the charge.
This is a great just individual play by Carr. Indiana switches that. Carr realizes that he's got the big on him, one step back into it. And here, Indiana, the curl to the pocket pass to the finish. That's the type of offense that you want to see from Indiana this year, is playing together. Baylor, just an individual great play there by Carr as well.
Shot clock and game clock, as you can see, are almost in sync. So Indiana will play for one more. One last shot before halftime. Conaway, he tried the bounce feed to DeVries. Instead, it's Enright curling and wipe it away.
I think they're going to count it. I mean, the Baylor player came in and touched that around the rim. And that's good. Bucket's going to be good there.
Take another look. All kinds of hands and arms were flailing at this one.
It was Skillings?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, actually Skillings. You're right, Brian. Good catch. So basket's good. Baylor's got a couple seconds here to try to get a catch and shoot here before halftime and increase their lead. So Scott Drew trying to dial up a play here.
We had a chance to call Michigan St. John's last night, and it was a great college basketball game. This one right here is the same thing, and the reason I say it's a great college basketball game is teams are still trying to figure out what they're trying to do. They're trying to figure out each other. You're seeing some really good basketball. Yes, there's some errors that are going to happen. That's because, you know, it's late October. You're going to have those errors, but in general, this is good for college basketball, and there should be more of it. We talked about it last night, but in general, this is good for the game. Players, teams, they're all learning more about themselves. It's only going to help the product as well. To be able to play in these kind of environments, guys are going to get into their flow a little bit earlier.
Carr will throw the touchdown pass, and it's tipped. DeVries.
Early on, when you look at just where they're at now, they've got Minnesota as one of their Big Ten games in December, and Penn State as far as one of their Big Ten games in December. If they can find a way to win those, in between them, they've got Louisville and Kentucky. You know, that's a really crucial, when I look at their schedule, a 4-game stretch for the Hoosiers to really know where you're at starting December 3rd and going all the way to December 13th.
Karen DeVries talked about it at Big Ten Media Days. Not going to flinch, going to test his group, see how they come together in these first 2 months of the season. Overlay on the drive. Missed opportunity to cut into that deficit. A tie. He walked with it, much to his chagrin. Carr led the way in the first half with 14 for the Bears, and Wilkerson pumped in 16 for Indiana in the first 20. This is Conaway scanning. Tucker DeVries with the basketball, flipping up top to Bailey. Long three ball by Wilkerson. He answers the call. Lamar, he can take and make the tough three-pointers. him, gives it up. Trying to navigate that baseline with DeVries all over. And came up and underneath. Basket's good on the goaltending there.
Just look at kind of some of the looks that Indiana's going to get. There you see Wilkerson with the screen, and Baylor goes under the screen. Carr does, and when you go underneath that screen, especially with Wilkerson, he's going to pull it. And last year, he averaged 3.4 threes, made threes a game, which was 6th in the nation.
Yeah, hardly gun shy. DeVries, floater, overlay. And Reed Bailey. Foul on the drive there by Yessoufou. Bailey, he'd like that lob back. That was
great set, just missed layup. I mean, it's that simple. And, you know, because that, then all of a sudden Baylor's off and running, and Baylor offensively, I mean, they're so good. They've been so good for many, many years. You know, their offensive efficiency last year was 16th. The year prior to that was 6th, 2nd, 8th, 2nd. Like, you know they're going to be really efficient on the offensive end. You can't give them opportunities.
Shooting 50% so far in the contest this afternoon. Quick trigger, missed that time. Boston, OB, turnover Baylor.
And that's the ball pressure by Indiana. And they're going to have to be able to really get into the guards as the season goes on.
Conaway in his 6th year of college basketball. Those crafty veterans, they will count on. Bailey gets another whack at it with the left hand.
I love the response there by Bailey. Offensively missed the layup on the alley-oop. Then all of a sudden there's a post entry, takes his time and scores.
Redemption for the senior. 2-point ball game again, and that's going against the Bears.
And you look at Indiana getting over the screen there. Here, this is a great pass by Conaway just to understand and get it to Bailey. And then Bailey realizes that I have a lot of space around. I can take my time. And why does he have the space? Because the scouting report on everybody on the floor for Indiana, shooter, shooter, shooter. And when you have that, you get more space to operate.
There's some space. Conaway takes it all the way home, and we're tied at 43. Timeout, Scott Drew and the Baylor Bears. And that ignites the crowd, ignites the guys in the candy stripe Indiana Hoosier pants. Tatum Conaway taking it, calling his own number to tie it. Indiana has outscored Baylor 7-2 here in the second half. And they've knotted this game up at 43 apiece.
Well, and offensively, Indiana's attack. Now, defensively, that's an area that Baylor needs to improve on. And really, it's been kind of too easy for this Indiana offense. Yes, they're moving the ball better, but Baylor's defense needs to be better. You look at the last 3 years, as far as where Baylor's been defensively, they ranked 62nd, 72nd, and 107th on the past 3 years in the defensive end. Just is not going to be good enough to take Baylor where they want to be this year. They've added this length, they've added the, the ability to, protect the rim, those sorts of things. So you've got to use that, length that you have to make it really tough on the opposing offenses. And those last 3 minutes there by Baylor was just not good enough.
So Scott Drew said his piece in the Baylor huddle. Agbim on the get back. No room there on the wing. But room perhaps there. Front of the rim. Reset Baylor. Almost stolen the other way. Would have been an easy 2 for Indiana, but Carr gathered and went into attack mode.
Carr's been in attack mode all game long. 14 points, 6 of 9. He's just been really aggressive in everything that he's done.
The team second. Now at the line for Baylor, Cameron Carr.
Carr's sister, a baller as well. Played at Kansas State for the Wildcats when his dad, Chris, was on the staff there at K-State. Basketball family. What else did you talk about Thanksgiving, Brian Butch? I mean, just hoops, right? Past the turkey and the gravy, but let's talk some basketball.
I'm sure there is a lot of conversation at the Thanksgiving. But see, basketball season, you don't get around the Thanksgiving table, and you're normally playing a whole
right.
lot.
Yeah. A lot of these tournaments, you're off in the Never Never Land.
I missed a lot of Thanksgivings in my time, that's for sure.
Free throws put Baylor back in front. Not anymore.
And how do you break a press? You're aggressive. 1, 2, 3 passes to a wide open 3 by Wilkerson.
He's pumped in 22 points. Gives Indiana the lead. Give and go, and going to the hoop, but rejected. Alexis gobbles it up. Wilkerson the other way, bumped and fouled. They'll call the contact on the floor, but Lamar Wilkerson fired up.
Well, 1 pass, 2 passes, excuse me, for the 3. I thought there was a third in there. There wasn't. It was 1, 2 up to Wilkerson. And again, just the ability and the freedom to play. That's what you've seen Coach LeVre's kind of preach to this group is we're going to let you play free. We're going to not, have the handcuffs on you. We're going to just let you go. And that's a great example of that and results in a wide open 3.
For the inbound. Obi Agbim called for too much jostling. Conaway will trigger again. Wilkerson, catch and shoot. No good, but Conaway there to clean up the mess. That triple no good. Foul underneath on Baylor again.
Well, energy-wise right now, I mean, we can talk all the execution that we want to talk, but energy-wise right now, Indiana is playing with more energy than Baylor, and you're seeing that with second effort plays that are going Indiana's way.
Carr got tagged for the foul that time. DeVries. Back down, fade away, no. Skillings will bring it up. Force feed it. Back up top to Powell. Agbim. Jostling. Fading away. Rimmed off. Rebound Indiana.
Yeah, good defense possession.
And here we go on the other end. Score it for Conaway. There's your transition, playing with aggression.
Well, good defense then leads to transition opportunities. And that last possession defensively really was just a 2-point possession defensively because it resulted in that easy transition.
Indiana crowd loves it here.
A little handsy, yeah.
Yeah, a little face guarding there by Tatum Conaway, but the damage has been done by the guys from Bloomington, who lead it here in Indianapolis, 48-45. Houston State up to 22 points, providing explosive offense.
When you look at 28 points in the paint for Indiana with not really a big man, how does that happen? Cutting. We've seen a lot of backdoor cuts. We've seen a lot of curl cuts that then put you in the front of the rim to score layups. Transition opportunities. Baylor at times has fallen asleep in transition. So you look at how is Indiana all year long going to manufacture the points in the paint and take care of that? It's the simple things in basketball that allows you to do that. Indiana has really done a good job here for, I would say, 3/4 of this game as far as doing that. There was a stretch there where they got away with that. The ball got a little sticky. And then if you're Baylor defensively, you had a stretch where you really were into Indiana. And they've gotten away from that on the defensive end. And defensively, Baylor needs to tighten up.
Come out of this timeout trailing by 3. Power off to Williams, who slips. Regathers, attacks, goes in and scores. He was bothered out near midcourt, and then he just accelerated. Indiana by 1. Hot hand, Wilkerson. They jump out on him defensively. DeVries. Tucker on the attack, kick it, Sisley. 5 on the shot clock. DeVries got a launch. He does. Missed it. Tracked down by Williams. He lost it. On the cut. Taking it all the way in. And putting it on the rim and drawing the contact. Back to the line goes Lamar Wilkerson.
Been ultra aggressive this afternoon. And it started by him driving and putting pressure on the rim early in this game. He's continued to do it, but it's the length that Baylor took him away, and instead of getting frustrated with that, it goes to his experience. He's played a lot of basketball. He scored the ball at an elite level, and just understanding the game, and you're seeing that have carryover.
I liked what Dad said about Son when he was asked at Big Ten Media Days about recruiting Tucker to play for him. And he said, I actually undervalued how good he could be when he was in middle school and in high school. He blossomed, he grew. And Dad had no choice because Tucker was all in. He wanted to enjoy this ride, enjoy this journey with him. Indiana by 3. Stripped on the way up, Skillings. Indiana converging on defense. Back to Wilkerson when the regular season kicks in for both Baylor and Indiana.
Indiana's defense has held Baylor to 1 of the last 8. It's because they've been aggressive and into him. Now, can Baylor find a way to attack? They had a chance to get downhill. Can they do that this possession?
Agben back outside, off the heel. Yessoufou couldn't get it, but a reset here for Baylor. Agben. No good. Rebound. Third try. No good. And on the trampoline, bodies in there. Foul called on Indiana. Baylor had 3 looks at it at that time. Brian, nothing fell.
Well, and if you're Baylor and you're Coach Drew, you look at it and say, okay, the response was we're going to get on the offensive glass. Didn't think it was a great offensive possession. It kind of became an isolation step back. Those are always tough to make, but hey, go get the ball then.
Bears will try again. Ratai in the lane, swatted away. They get another crack at it here. Whistle and a foul on Indiana. And another chance for the Bears.
Starting off strong. All right, number 2. Which college in Indiana is the Drew family most famously associated with? The Drew family
24 of the 55 points scored by Lamar Wilkerson for the Indiana Hoosiers. Here's a guy, Brian Butch, that they will look for him to answer the bell offensively. He's answering it this afternoon.
Well, he got himself going by going to the basket. Baylor was taking away the three, but then he's found his way and found the rhythm, and this is what Indiana brought him in here to do. They brought him in here to be the scorer, the guy that they're going to rely on to be able to do that. Last year he averaged 20.5 for Sam Houston State. It's one of those things that he can really score the ball. He shot close to 45% on a high volume last year, and you can just tell too he's about the right things. You can tell the energy that he brings, and that's what when you have to rebuild the whole roster, and you have to put in and inject your DNA. You want guys like him that are about the right thing, that represent what you want to build upon.
Saw his numbers so far in this contest. One thing you didn't see, 4 fouls, so he's got to be a little careful that he doesn't check out early with his 5th personal. J.J. White makes the first. Transfer from Omaha, where he played for 3 years in the Summit League. Rebound yanked down by Alexis. Working on Agnew. Curls. Was baseline bounce feed. Reeled in by DeVries with 5 on the shot clock. Alexis. Got it on the rim. Had to chuck it up there. Gets some clearance. He bounces it. Ratai, nothing there. J.J. White bails everybody out with the 3 ball.
And even though it wasn't a smooth offensive possession, it still was a paint touch. And Baylor's able to get the ball in there, and then all of a sudden defense collapses, and White fills back behind, and sure enough, he's open for the 3.
Touch at the 4, stays at 4 after the miss.
Baylor's got to look to do that. They've got to play better defense so they can get out and run and do this.
Ratai, but attempted putback by Powell, who was right there for the hard carom.
Now, the Ratai 3 obviously wasn't a great result as far as off the side of the backboard, but when you do that and you play in transition, what does it do against a smaller team? Now they're separated. It's a one-on-one rebounding battle. Baylor's bigger. They get the offensive rebound. They end up on the free throw line because of that. So the stops and the defensive stops have to come for Baylor so that they then can push in transition and get going a little bit and find a little bit of that rhythm offensively.
Bailey back in. Powell, another free throw coming for the transfer from Rice at Wyoming 2 years prior, but he's a Waco, Texas kid, so he is thrilled, grinning ear to ear at playing for the Baylor Bears.
Just an energy big too, right? Like comes in, you can give this team some energy, some extra possessions, just like you did on that one.
Reaching foul there by the freshman Tounde Yessoufou. Yessoufou only 5 points, 1 of 6 from the field as he gets his college basketball legs underneath him.
Well, coming off a 21-point performance against Grand Canyon, now how do you stack? How do you continue to put those together, game and game and game?
That Grand Canyon exhibition, that was a family affair for the Drew family, going up against his brother Bryce, head coach at Grand Canyon. Dad Homer was on hand as well. They had a 3-headed monster post-game presser to enjoy the moment.
It was, yeah, 79-74. Baylor won that game. And again, you want to find ways to be tested. There's things that you want to work on.
Free throws make it a 4-point lead. Gathering, trying to somehow sashay through the lane, and he did, but Caden Powell then stepped OB.
Powell did a good job of rolling a tough catch, and it does result in a turnover, but there was no reason to throw that. Indiana defensively was in the paint. It was going to be a very tough play to execute.
Breakout the other way. Denied at the hoop by Powell. Conaway had thoughts of a big-time flush. Instead, he'll take the three in the corner.
And it's energy. I mean, that's just an energy play right there. Possession, realistically, by Indiana.
Bump that lead back to +7. Powell stuck up top in the hands of White. JJ, whip it in the corner. Yessoufou, no. Put back, yes. Right there, Ratai.
And again, that's what Baylor's going to do is hit the offensive glass, and Indiana needs to have an answer. Defensively, they're scrambling. They're just not closing out the possession, and credit Baylor for hitting the glass.
The Freeze gathers. Tucker with a bicycle kick. Knocks it down. Freeze now with 14. White no good. Powell had it. Ball still alive. On the baseline, Indiana got it. Freeze, interior feed, and last touch by Sisley. Conaway, effort play here.
Well, and that's what it is. Saves it, it's blocked. All of a sudden, he stays in the corner, lets the play come to him. Baylor scrambling. It's a short closeout there by White, and Conaway drills the three.
Dayton could have easily given up. He got snuffed out, right? He could have just said, okay, wasn't meant to be.
Well, and if you look at what Conaway is, I mean, he was a 27% three-point shooter last year, and if he's able to knock that down at a really good clip, it gives Indiana yet another three-point shooter.
Williams. Tie. There's DeVries. In the passing lane, he goes up and gets it.
I'll tell you, Indiana's been very aggressive defensively. They've been in passing lanes. They've had hands on a lot of balls. You just can see it here, right? Like in general, they've been in those passing lanes. Freeze is able to kind of come off his player a little bit, get hands, force a turnover. We're in the bonus, so he's going to go to the free throw line.
Tucker sees, Brian, those passing lanes when Indiana has the ball, but he also sees the other opponent. He's reading all the action. He kind of has those X's and O's going on in his mind to anticipate where the basketball is going to be.
It's almost like he's a coach's kid.
Oh, you think?
I mean, just a little bit. It's funny how that works. Most coaches' kids understand that a little bit at a different level. That's why normally most of them are pretty darn good.
100%.
There's another example, though, of just being active. There is no driving lanes right now for Baylor.
Those driving lanes are under construction. DeVries launches, no good. Baylor gets it. Williams, hurry up the other way. Foul called. It was Enright who hits the deck and absorbs the personal foul. And we'll step aside from Indianapolis. It's the Hoosiers up by 9 on the Baylor Bears. by 9. Brian Butch at the 7:42 mark in the first half. Baylor led this game 31-18. I'm terrible at math, but I can tell you from that point on, it's been real good for Indiana flipping the script.
Well, it has, and it's been energy in what they've been able to do. Obviously, they're shooting the ball from 3 more attempts than they did last year. New coach, you expect that. But it's the energy. Last couple of years, I think if you ask Indiana fans, did you always see this type of energy no matter good or bad? And this is the way they're going to have to play all season long in Big Ten plays. They're going to have to play with a lot of energy. You see what this league is in front of them. Purdue, Michigan, UCLA, Illinois. And the list goes on, and it's just, in general, where and how are you going to get wins? I think energy is a huge part. Energy is a talent. And even though there's no Indiana players on the preseason All Big Ten team, I think there's lots of wins to be had if this Indiana team continues to play with this energy. And they're not even shooting it great from 3 right now. You know what they're capable of based on the percentages. They're 6 of 21 this afternoon for only 29%. But their defensive intensity has been how they've been able to get some extra possessions and really put Baylor on their heels. They've held Baylor to 55 points, and we know, just based on the history of Baylor basketball, offensively, they're one of the best every single year.
And they go up double digits. Denied by Carr underneath. Reed Bailey thought he had an easy layup. And Carr was there to swat out of midair. Baylor cash in on the offensive end. They did the dirty work. Indeed. Uppercars.
Yeah, it's a foul. Alexis just trying to fight through that screen. He said he was going to go through the screen.
Yeah, and no pun intended when I said uppercars. It was Carr who absorbed it. Oh, look. Trying to fight through, and then down goes Carr.
Hey, we got double bonus here. You good?
Double bonus.
2 shots.
As you may have heard, Cameron to the line to shoot a pair. Down. Carr now with 17 to lead the Baylor offensive attack. Make it 18. It is 7 for the Hoosiers. Wilkerson. It's defeated in. Gets it to Bailey. Stolen. Backside strip Carr. Yessoufou. Blasted out of bounds by DeVries.
That's where Yessoufou just kind of over-penetrates, and he's going to learn what he can get away with and what he can't get away with, because he's such a great athlete. But you see the drive here. 1, 2, 3 guys there. I mean, if Tucker didn't block it, Alexis was going to get it. So you drive, you get the defense to climb, and that's where you've got to kick it out and find ways to get others involved.
Williams. Tie. Regathers. Missed it. Skillings came flying in, trying to get the putback. DeVries in the lane. Stuck. Get it back to him. And then flip it into Alexis. Sam goes to work. Back to DeVries. Tucker. Long range 3. No. Tipped around, and Bears come away with it. 6 minutes left in regulation. Yessoufou, yes sir.
And it starts with Baylor's defense. They guarded, then now they're able to come down and transition. And Yessoufou was able to drill the three, but that's what Baylor got away from. That's where Indiana made the run, and now finally you're seeing Baylor kind of dig in on the defensive end, leading to transition like this. And when you get the paint in transition, that defense has to collapse. And when that defense collapses, usually there's a trail that's available. And you had it.
All right, opening night. This is a last dress rehearsal, if you will, for the Bears and the Hoosiers. But on the Big Ten Network, we kick it off on Monday, November 3rd. Triple header time. Buzz Williams making his Maryland coaching debut in the Big Ten. You got Illinois ranked 17th in the land, following up on part 2 of the double dip. And then out west we go. Eastern Washington, number 12, UCLA, and Donovan Dent, Brian Butch. He's going to make a lot of noise in this conference.
Well, he absolutely is, and I think UCLA is going to be very, very good in this league. They've addressed some of their things, but I think November 3rd should be a national holiday. That's the way I think.
Christmas? Are we saying Christmas?
Better than Christmas, maybe. Those are 3 presents underneath the tree right there with Coppin State, Maryland, Jackson State, Illinois, and Eastern Washington and UCLA. That, to me, looks like 3 great Christmas presents early on.
All right, so if that's Christmas, then this is St. Nicholas Day.
Well, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm all for this. But these exhibitions, they've really been good. We had St. John's, Michigan last night. Both teams found out a little bit about themselves. Overtime. Baylor, Indiana, you've got 6 minutes to play with a 4-point game. Both coaches are going to find out about their teams right now. And the best part is it's not on the win-loss column.
Note to Indiana, 3 players playing with 4 fouls here. Wilkerson, Enright, and Connerway, all with 4. It's Connerway with the ball. Alexis lost it. Trying to back down, get position. Ball skittered away from him. Turnover, Indiana.
And that's only Indiana's 9th turnover. They've done a really good job taking care of the ball, but that's what most of Coach DeVries' teams have done.
Opportunity for Baylor here, trailing by 4. Trying to slice and dice this Decifit, easy for me to say. Whip pass back outside to Skillings. Goes in, gets challenged, and still scores. Degree of difficulty, 9-10, man.
And it's all body control. Being able to drive, finish through the contact.
2-point lead for the Hoosiers. Under 5 to go. Here's your run by Baylor. Alexis squares up. Sam scores.
Yeah, and had the mismatch. So understanding the mismatch is there. And just taking your time and finishing through the contact.
Yeah, his man went splat in the lane, but no whistle, so Sam played on. 3 ball. Doesn't go for a tie. Climbing the ladder and keeping the dribble.
What a rebound by Wilkerson.
And on his backside, he kept it alive. Going, Yessoufou, going for the steal. And instead, runs into Connerway for the foul. 4th on Tounde. Scott Drew, quick teaching moment right there. Indiana in the bonus. It'll be Connerway to shoot the 1-and-1.
Now, you look at that last play. Could have been really bad for Indiana because it was a little bit of a pass. It just was a little lackadaisical. And thankfully, there was a foul there for Indiana because those are the ones that you got to be sure of, especially time and score. There's 4 minutes left in this game. You can't have lazy passes.
Yeah, if it goes the other way, then Darren DeVries is the one who's having the teaching moment with his guys. But they get the foul, get the free throws, get the lead back to 6. winding down to the final media timeout of regulation. Fire is deflected by the Hoosiers. And we will take said media break here. 3:55 to go in Indianapolis. It's the Hoosiers by 6. Winding down this final tune-up of the season for Baylor and Indiana when they play for real. It'll be 3 straight games in Waco for the Baylor Bears. And then look how they're spending their Thanksgiving, Brian Butch. Creighton and St. John's in Las Vegas.
Should be a good couple of matchups. And then you look at November 9th, the Washington game as well. I mean, that's a start to the season that you're going to, again, you play these exhibition games because you know what you've got coming up. You've got 3 of the first 5 within the top 50 of KenPom. And then you look at Indiana in general, they've got Marquette as their second game. And then there's a couple to kind of get a feel, but then they get thrown into it November 25th, Kansas State. But there's a 4-game stretch from December 3rd through December 13th, the 10-day stretch there where you've got Minnesota, Louisville, Penn State, Kentucky. You know, those are, you're going to learn early on where you're at within this league, and you've got, you know, Minnesota, Penn State. Can you go 2-0 in league play? And, you know, both Minnesota with a new coach, Penn State, they've gotten better, and it's going to be, to me, that 10-day stretch is going to be really, really important for Indiana basketball.
So the guys there on the graphic teetering on fouling out of this ball game, but so far everybody's still intact here. Yessoufou, one of the guys with 4 personals, aggressive attack mode there, draws the contact. And it's against Wilkerson.
It's his fifth.
Yeah, right on cue. Wilkerson got to call it a day. So Yessoufou.
And it's Wilkerson's 5th. Now, in a couple of these exhibition games, I know Wisconsin played Oklahoma. They were allowed 6 fouls. We weren't relayed that, but based on the way this is going, I think they're going to be allowed 6 fouls. I'm going to throw that there.
Lamar says, I'm staying in, boys. Everyone in agreement and in concert on not fudging the rules, but just you want these guys, let them play it out here. Lead is 5. Baylor trying to dial up some pressure here now, make life a little bit more difficult getting this basketball in. On our way the other way and setting up shop. Push him out near midcourt. Three-pointer. Just got a piece of the rim up front, and here comes Baylor. Yessoufou gathering the loose change. Skillings squeezes it in, and it's a 3-point game.
But it's a bad possession by Indiana on the offensive end, and because of that, Baylor's able to get the ball and get out in transition and score. Baylor's extremely tough in transition.
Baylor's taking advantage. Looking for another stop here to tighten things up one more time. Alexis give and go to DeVries. Cut off. Green jersey's there and there. Try it anyway. Underneath shot doesn't go. Bears say we want to go. Skillings on the way up. Foul call.
But again, we're seeing Baylor out in transition. Now, as much as I'd love to give credit to Baylor for defensively being locked in and being aggressive, I'll give them a little bit. Give them a little bit. But it's been Indiana's offense that's really stalled, and they haven't played with the pace. They've slowed down with it. They've now dropped it into, the paint and, struggled in that way as far as finding that pace that they need to play with. So, you look overall at that as far as what they need to do. And Might not be able to foul out in this game, by the way, because that's Wilkerson's sixth
That's his
foul.
sixth. He would foul out of an NBA game, but he's still in there.
Obviously, with the exhibitions, different ways, and it's Conaway. So I do think 6 is the limit here.
Okay.
I know we've done a couple of these. We've seen a couple of them. I think 6 is the limit. So
Yeah.
Conaway with the foul.
Yeah, they actually gave it to Conaway, so Wilkerson still with a chance to remain on the court here. It's a one-point game at 68-67. Conaway with those 5 fouls.
I like a ball screen versus a post touch. And just
Wilkerson, downtown Indy, it's no good. Baylor with a chance to take the lead.
not a good possession.
Yessoufou for 3. Yes, bottom of the bucket. Down it goes. And the Bears have stormed all the way back here with 2 to play.
And a great response here by Baylor.
Conaway, dump it off. Foul before the basket.
Just a pass ahead. Skilling's realizing Yessoufou's wide open for 3. But that's how you generate energy. Sometimes energy is given to you, sometimes you take it. I think it's a little bit of both here because Indiana's being very hesitant in what they're trying to run. And Baylor then is able to get the stops, and then they're out and they're running, and they're having a lot of success here. And that's the reason that they had that 8-0 run.
It ends on the Conaway free throw. One more here to tie it. $70 all. Fans making some racket here at Gainbridge. Yessoufou launches, falls out of bounds. Officials say no. Indiana for the lead on the drive. Foul called as Wilkerson goes down hard.
And that last possession, what I liked about it is they went with the ball screen. Before they were trying to do a lot of post entries to Alexis, and I just, it seemed like the offense stalled. That time, Alexis comes up, sets that high ball screen. Now all of a sudden it allows Wilkerson to get downhill, whether he attacks at the rim and gets to the free throw line, or the corner was wide open for a dish for a wide open 3, but a better result offensively there that possession.
You saw Wilkerson hit the deck. You saw Carr. Foul was against Cameron. He got hit hard. It was body on body, and both guys paid the price. Wilkerson, the free throws. Indiana back in front. Skillings. For 3. Got it! Dan Skillings Jr. puts Baylor back in front.
A big-time shot, and Tuckett DeVries just fell down, and they had the advantage.
Conaway tried the bounce fee in the paint, nobody home. It's Enright with it. Wilkerson took a look, went inside. DeVries got it. Little baseline fadeaway shot. Indiana, we seesaw back and forth. Skillings again. Kick it. Gathered by Williams. Yessoufou. No good. Rebound Baylor. Ratai got it. And a foul called on Indiana, Sam Alexis.
And this was an area of concern for Indiana, is offensive rebounding and giving that up, and they did. And look, the first one here, DeVries just falls down, and Skillings finds a way to find the open spot. And buries the three, and then Indiana, Wilson does a great job coming into the paint. DeVries finds enough space to be able to get that shot off. Indiana's up one here, but that last defensive possession, Indiana did a really good job, except for finishing out the possession. Gives up the offensive rebound. Because the offensive rebound's given up, there's a foul. Sends Baylor to the free throw line.
The officials are at the table. They're checking the clock, and they are. You saw it reset there to 12.2 seconds. Indiana with a couple timeouts remaining. Baylor has one. Bears will be at the line with a pair of free throw opportunities to regain the lead.
But this is, again, why these exhibitions matter so much. Baylor, you're trying to figure out who's going to be your closer. Who's going to be that guy you're going to go to. And Indiana, you got to come up with a huge rebound at the end.
First one off. The tie gets another one to try to tie it. He does. 12 ticks left. Conaway scoops it and attacks and gets fouled. Score it on the Tatum Conaway basket.
And it was just a straight line drive to it. But the biggest thing about it for Conaway is playing off of 2 feet. Straight line drive. Nobody stops him. Comes off at 2 feet. A little shot fake. And now he's able to finish and get to the free throw line. If you're Baylor, if you're going to pick up that far, you can't get beat that quick. They do. But again, it all starts, Conaway understand that if you play off 2 feet there, now all of a sudden you're under control. He does that and gets the foul as well.
Missed it. Baylor gonna go. Carr, three for the lead, no good.